Hey everybody, the music is playing. It's a Wednesday morning and it's time for your Berkshire Hathaway bi-weekly podcast. She's back, realty expert Katlyn Soli. We'll talk with her right after this.
Real estate can feel a lot like this, but you should expect more when you're buying or selling a home. You should feel taken care of by someone who can turn jitters into someone with the tools and knowledge to help you find the one or sell yours.
We'll take it.
Someone who can make real estate feel less like that and more like this. That's Home Services. Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.
And she is back, realty expert Katlyn Soli in the house.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Been 3 weeks.
Yep.
What's new in your world? Anything great going on?
I'll tell you what.
Uh-oh.
It seems like
I tell you
when
what.
you're up on top, you're up on top.
Mm-hmm.
When you go down, you get real low. Everything hits you. I have the worst luck in the world.
Uh-oh.
Not only was it tax day this week, but
Yep.
I went in to get my oil change, and I always dread going in to get my oil change. They come back to me, they always tell you, your air,
you got
your
this,
air
yeah,
filters,
yeah.
And I'm like, okay, yeah, I've never changed them. Go for it. I'd let them do it this time.
Mm-hmm.
Then they say, by the way, you have a screw in your tire.
Oh.
I was like, great, thank you.
Yeah. Just happen to have a screw gun in my hand. No.
So it's like, when you get all your bills are due, everything's due, and then you get hit with that. And I'm like, awesome.
Yeah, and nobody just puts a plug in a tire anymore
No.
either. You got to get, you either got to get a new tire or go get it patched.
I know.
And yeah, they always find something. The last time that happened to me, they came in and said, they show me my cabin air filter. I'm like, all right, put a new one in.
Yep.
5 minutes later, we don't have one. I said,
my
okay, do you have an air compressor thingy? I said, blow it out and
Yep.
put it back in. It's pretty
Just
simple.
clean it, yeah.
Pretty simple. You mentioned tax day was Monday.
Yep.
Now, if somebody's looking to buy a house, say you got a decent tax refund coming, is there a good way to use your tax refund to help with buying a house? I never really thought of that because you always hear people say, wait till I get my tax return. I'm going to go buy this or that. But
Yep.
I've never really heard anybody say, wait till I get my tax return. I'm going to go buy a house.
No, it's not really talked about. When you get your tax return, you're so excited. You have a list of everything you want to go buy. Maybe it's a vacation, concerts. I probably know a couple people who would take it to go gambling, whatever. It's extra money. It's free money. So a lot of people will just go out and spend it right away. But the smart ones are hanging on to it to help them get ahead in real estate.
See, I don't even know what a tax return is anymore.
I was going to say, I missed that.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years now since I've been
Remember the
able to do it.
days?
Yep, absolutely. So if you are someone who is getting that tax return and you got it and you have this lump sum of money now, you can use it to help buy a house. And how you do this is there's a lot of buyers right now saving up because everything in the world is so expensive, including the cost of buying a house. You need the down payment, you need the closing costs. And there's a couple tricks that I have that can help you.
Okay.
Kind of some creative ways. So the first one is that down payment. This is a huge barrier to younger buyers. They're trying to set aside money to go towards their down payment. And it's hard right now when everything is so expensive. It's hard to set aside money because it kind of feels like everyone's paycheck to paycheck right now.
Right. And I mean, you can get by with a mortgage, but it's that down payment.
It's the down payment. Yep, exactly. And there are some loan types that you have a lower down payment that you need to pay, maybe 0% down, different things like that. But for the average buyer, you are going to have to come up with that down payment. So your tax refund would be a perfect thing to put towards that.
Sure.
So that's the first one. The other one we have is paying for closing costs. And again, like I said, not every buyer is going to have the same amount of closing costs. It depends on the purchase price of the home that you're writing the offer on.
Sure.
A lot of times people think you need 20% down for closing costs. However, that's not true. For your average buyer, it's going to be anywhere from like 2% to 5% of the purchase price of the home. Some people will put down 20%, and that's just to get rid of the mortgage insurance, the PMI.
Sure. Yep.
So you don't need 20%, but usually it's around 2% or 2 to 5% of the purchase price. And then I'll also say with that, there's ways to kind of help with that. Some buyers in the offer will request sellers to contribute some of the closing costs as well. So that's an option you have, but if sellers aren't willing to do that, buyers have to come up with that chunk of the closing costs. Your tax return, if you got a pretty good tax return, that would be a perfect thing to also put it towards as the closing costs,
Okay.
just to help out a little bit.
Sure.
And then this next one, this one is huge right now because interest rates are higher. They keep ticking down a little bit, but then they go back up, which
one
is
step
super
forward,
frustrating.
2 steps back.
Exactly. That's kind of how it feels. So lowering your mortgage rate, your lenders might give you the option to buy down your interest rate, which is huge.
Sure.
And that's kind of been going on, like at least for the last year when interest rates have been so high. People have been paying down their mortgage rate, but you have to have money to do that. You can't just ask and get it.
Okay,
So.
I don't know anything about buying down your mortgage rate or interest rate. What do you use? You have come up with a lump sum and say,
Yep.
I'll give you this right now, but drop me a percentage point, or how does that work?
Yep. So you'll have to pay for each point that you drop down.
Okay.
And if your lender lets you do this, it's going to depend on all of your criteria when you get approved. But if your lender allows you to buy down your mortgage rate, you can use your tax return money to help do that.
Okay.
That way, that bonus money you got from the IRS isn't necessarily coming out of your pocket.
Sure.
That would be a perfect thing to put that towards. Because in the end, the interest rate, I mean, that's huge. If you can get that down 2 points, like that,
heck
that's
yeah,
huge.
2 points is a lot of money.
Exactly. So that would be probably the one I would go for. If you already are a buyer who's approved and you have money saved up for down payment and closing costs, I would put that money towards buying down your interest rate then. So
Okay.
some different strategies there.
And what if interest rates start to drop now? Could it would maybe be a good idea to take that to refinance or
Yes.
second mortgage or
Yep.
however that works?
Yep, because we realtors, we throw around, buy now, you can refinance later. A lot of people aren't backing that up with saying that it does cost money to refinance.
It does a little bit, but it's better in the long run.
It's better in the long
Yeah,
run,
yeah.
exactly. But yeah, you can absolutely use that money then to refinance if you're already in a home already.
I mean, somebody might have bought a home 15 years ago and it's still lower. I don't know what the rates were 15 years ago,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean.
Yep.
So, of all of the things that I used to dream about when I used to get a tax return, I never ever thought about anything with buying a house or even buying down my interest rate or second more, and none of that stuff. I've never ever thought about
Right.
that, and that's a great idea.
Right. And, interest rates right now, they're in the upper 6%. Like I said, they tick down and then they go back up. And a lot of potential buyers or even like current clients will ask me like, well, should I just wait until rates come down? And here's what I say to that. Every buyer has a different situation. In reality, what I say is that if you have the financial means to buy a house, you're ready. It depends on your lifestyle. Like, do you plan on staying here for a while, or are you going to move next year? Wouldn't make sense. Keep renting. Do what you're doing. But right now, I say that if rates continue to drop, it's going to be mayday in the market. We're seeing right now homes are super, super competitive when they get listed. There's multiple offers on homes right now.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. So that's why I say if you are able to use your tax return to get into a house now, it's going to make a lot more sense than in a couple months. If rates do go down, it is so competitive that for those newer first-time home buyers, it's really hard to compete with some offers out there that maybe a cash offer or maybe they don't need, certain terms. Right now would be the time to get in and get the house.
Yeah, and then you're lucky if you didn't and you wait for another year or two or whatever and you think, okay, now we can do it. Then you might not find the house that you want.
Exactly.
And, there's times when I mean, even me, I've thought, oh my gosh, I can't turn this deal down. I'll buy it even though really wasn't ready for it yet, but I'm glad I did. There's just so many different scenarios like you're talking about.
There is, and we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what if rates go skyrocket
Right,
up to
right.
10%? Then you're going to be super glad you bought now. But yeah, we don't know. And if rates do drop down super low, it's going to be super competitive and it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Do you think people are waiting, and I can't believe that I'm even dragging this in. Do you think people are waiting till November to find out what happens?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something.
I mean, people are thinking there could be changes. We don't know what,
yeah, it's an
if
election
any,
year.
but you never know.
Exactly. We never know. And that's why I just say, like, each person is different. But in reality, like, if you're capable, you're ready, maybe you're even already pre-approved and you're ready to get into the market, I just say do it now.
Yeah, you might be beating yourself up. You know, it's always that shoulda, woulda, coulda thing.
Yeah.
And then it haunts you forever.
Yep, and I do have buyers. This is another thing I'll say too, because I think a lot of people would relate to this. Is I have buyers approved looking for homes right now, but they're approved at like a lower price range, and in this market, there's nothing under like 230 on the market. So it's really hard for them to even find a house, and that's where your tax return comes into play too, where that might help you if you can buy down interest rate, or, it'll help you if you have extra money to maybe start getting approved for a higher amount as well.
Yeah.
So.
See, things have changed. My first house I bought in Grand Forks was under $70,000. Can you imagine?
I know.
And it was bigger than a one-stall garage.
I know. Even when I bought my home it's like going on 4 years now, I got mine for a screaming deal, even though it was a fixer-upper. And now I look at fixer-uppers on the market and I'm like, wow, like that's a huge difference.
And mine was a total fixer-upper too.
Mine was too. Yep, completely like gutted it out. But I see homes like that now on the market, and it's just crazy.
Oh yeah. Buy a house, flip it. They say it.
Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't always work that way anymore.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, if you are a younger buyer, approved and ready to go, I also like to tell them, your first home does not have to be your forever home.
No.
Just try to get into the market now, start building that equity so that in a couple of years when you go to sell, you have a lump sum to put down on a down payment on a new house.
And even if you're not quite ready yet, but maybe you will be by this summer, it's never really too early to get a hold of you guys.
Absolutely not. Nope. Give us a call anytime, any day. We're here to help you, especially in this tough market. We want to help you navigate because I know it's hard.
All right, so if you're sitting out there with a tax return, a decent-sized one maybe even, and you're thinking about, well, it's time, let's do it, let's buy a house. Katlyn just went over a bunch of things you could do with that. Your down payment, your closing costs. You could buy down interest rates if you already have a house. These are all things, again, that I never would have thought of on one of these Berkshire Hathaway podcasts, because it's like you'll hear, I don't know, we're running out of stuff to talk about, but I don't ever hear that.
No,
there's always something new to talk about. And this is another reason why you should hire a real estate expert. Don't try to do all this on your own. These are things that, well, I don't know how many people would have known. I wouldn't have.
Exactly.
So, all right. Somebody wants to get a hold of realty expert Katlyn Soli. How do they do that?
My number is 320-267-6692. You can call or text me anytime, any day. I'm also on the Berkshire Hathaway website here in Grand Forks.
All right. And we will see you Friday?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. There you go. Thank you very much. Realty expert Katlyn Soli in the studio. She'll be back again day after tomorrow, 10 o'clock. Your Berkshire Hathaway bi-weekly podcast. Until then, we'll see you Friday, everybody.